Hello, mathematicians. It's Miss Leon. Today we are learning about how to multiply a whole number by a mixed number. And remember, a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction attached to it. We're going to learn how to multiply a whole number by a mixed number three different ways. I'm going to show you with representations using a bar diagram and by using fraction strips. And the last one I'm going to show you is by using algorithms, so just the straight numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to start drawing my bar diagram. The multiplication problem is going to be 5 times, that's my whole number, 5 times 2 and 2/3. So 2 and 2/3 is my mixed number. So I'm going to start drawing my bar diagram right now. Okay, in my bar diagram, I'm going to have a beginning and an end. At the very top of it, I am going to write the word total because that's where our answer is going to go. Down below, I'm going to make 5 equal spaces because I have multiplied times 5. So down here, I'm going to have 5 equal spaces. In each one of my spaces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my mixed number. So this is saying I have 2 and 2/3 5 times. So here I go, I'm putting the 2 in, and then I'm going to put my 2/3 in to each space. The best way that I could think about doing this is I'm going to pull out the easiest numbers to work with, and that would be the 2s. And I'm just going to drop them down right here. And I see that I have 5 of them in a row, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And that is 2 5 times, which would be 10. Now what I'm going to do, if you can guess, is probably pull these 2/3 down. And I will have obviously 5 of those as well. And just like I did before, I can either take 5 times 2/3, which we have learned how to do, or I can just start adding up the fractions as I go across. So this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And that would be my improper fraction of 10/3. Now we have a bigger issue here because we have these partial amounts sitting right here. I have the 10 and the 10/3. What I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to convert this 10/3 into a mixed number. I cannot just leave it like this in an improper fraction format. So again, I'm going to make 10/3 into a mixed number. In order to do this, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to take 10 and divide it by 3. And remember, this line right here is a division line, essentially. So it is saying 10 at the top divided by that line right there, 3. And if I take 10 divided by 3, I will have 3 wholes with 1 remaining. That's your remainder, 1 remaining out of, and this is our denominator, 3 groups. And that's what my mixed number will be. And what I'm going to do with this mixed number right here is I'm going to add this to the 10 that I have right up here. I'm going to add that to the 10. And what I will get is 3 plus 10 is 13 wholes and the 1/3. So my solution will be 13 and 1/3 when I multiply 5 times 2 and 2/3. I've illustrated that using a bar diagram. Now let's use fraction strips as a representation. I'm going to be showing, again, 5, and that's the times we're going to repeat the mixed number of 2 and 2/3. So I'm going to make 5 rows going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In each row, I'm going to draw in fraction strips 2 wholes and 2/3. Okay, as I've showed in this first row, I have 1 whole, I have another whole, and I have 1/3, and I have 2/3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat this process again. All right, as you can see, I have 1 whole, 2 wholes, 1 and 1/3, 2 and 2/3, or 1/3, 2/3. I'm gonna do this a third time. A fourth time, the same mixed number, 2 and 2/3, and then a fifth time showing 2 and 2/3. All right, I can easily see if I wanted to count up how many holes there are, I could see 10. But I am doing, like, I am multiplying, so I can see that there are 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in each row, there are 2 holes. So if I were to go ahead and do that as a multiplication problem, you would easily find that I have 10 holes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this multiplication problem with my fractional amounts. So again, I have 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm multiplying that. Each row has 2/3. When we have multiplied before, we can do that with the 5, and it's a whole number, so there's an implied 1 in the denominator, so it would be 5 times 2 is 10, and then 1 times 3 is 3. Or I could add that all up and show that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10/3. But again, just like we did up top, we cannot leave this 10/3 as an improper fraction. We are going to have to convert this into a mixed number. And because we have done this work all before, we've done that hard work, I'm just going to take what we know, our information, and I'm just going to bring it right on down here just for the sake of time. I know that 10/3 is the mixed number of 3 wholes and 1/3. When I put together the 10 holes and the 3 holes, I find that I get 13 holes and 1/3 as a fraction. So this is just another way to illustrate how to multiply a whole number by a mixed number. The last way that we are going to do this is we are going to show how to multiply a whole number by a mixed number using algorithm. And all that really means is that we are going to do this with straight numbers. There's not going to be any representations or pictures attached to that. We are still going to do the same multiplication problem, which will be 5 wholes times 2 and 2/3 as the mixed number. Let me go ahead and get this set up. I'm going to take my whole number, which is 5, and it is just going to stay the same. I am not going to do anything special or anything different to it. What I'm going to do to the 2 and 2/3 is I am going to convert that. I could say change, but I'm going to use the word convert. The mixed number, like I did before, the mixed number into an improper fraction. We already know what that improper fraction is because we've done this already 2 different times. Just for change and change's sake, I'm going to show this using a different strategy. So I have the 2 and the 2/3. I've shown you before where I have 2 wholes, and I'm going to convert that into obviously a fraction format. We're using thirds, so that means that my denominator is going to be a third. To make a whole, I would have to say 3/3. So that's 1 whole. Now to make 2, I need another whole. So that would be another 3/3. And then I'm going to bring down this remaining 2/3 that I have. I need to put all of these amounts together. When I do that, I have 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8. I have 8/3 as my improper fraction. What I need to do is I need to multiply that by the 5 that I had up here. I'm just going to bring that 5 all the way down. I've talked about this a number of times. I have 5 wholes. You are a whole child. I am a whole teacher. How many are there of me specifically? I'm unique. There's only one of me. So even though we don't see a denominator, we know that there is an implied denominator. The implied denominator is 1 because we know that this is a whole number, just like you're a whole person and you're special and there's only one of you. So there's only one of you and that goes in the denominator. I'm going to multiply these numbers going across. So how I do that is I say 5 wholes times the 8 in the numerator of the improper fraction. And then I multiply going across for the denominator 1 in the denominator times 3 in the denominator here. What I find is I get 5 times 8 is 40. 1 times 3 is 3. And I get the improper fraction of 40/3. If you guessed it, you would know that we cannot leave this as an improper fraction. We have to convert this into a mixed number. I know this says 40 divided by 3. That's what that says. It says 40 divided by 3. And just for time's sake, I know that 3 goes into 40 13 whole times with 1 left over out of 3 groups. So my solution to the multiplication problem of 5 times 2/3 would be 13 1/3.